Hello, we are going to be covering how to start using MyFitnessPal. And if you're watching this video, it's because you have already been through the exercises that I left you working for the past 2 weeks with regards understanding or getting familiar with MyFitnessPal application and few other tasks that I got you doing. On those tasks that I got you doing, at first, there is a tutorial, not done by me, but one of the best ones in YouTube that will take you through the step-to-step as to how to start using MyFitnessPal and best practices. So I highly recommend you to watch and spend some time watching that video. There is nothing on that video that the guy hasn't covered that I might add on. That's the reason why the tutorial is in there. Everything the guy says in there is approved by me. Then after that, you have a video that says how to set up MyFitnessPal account and block the step count. As the guy says on the tutorial, as I am now telling you, we're going to be using MyFitnessPal because it's a great tool for us to understand your calorie intake, and from those calorie intakes, what macro percentage you're currently consuming, so I can then in the future start doing the manipulations that I need to do in order to get you to your end goal. However, on that video, the guy really explains that MyFitnessPal is a great tool to track calories and macros, but it's a terrible tool to help you lose weight. So MyFitnessPal, it is a weight loss application, and loads of people in the world uses that applications. And what they have to do, they have to deliver that people loses weight, but not in a healthy way. And that's not what we do here at Train with Estella. So that's why I will not ask you to follow the recommendations of calorie target that MyFitnessPal is going to ask you to do, because they're not accurate. I'm going to help you with that. For the time being, all I want you to do is to follow the steps in here to block the step count. And when it comes to entering the targets at which you're going to be setting up your account, you will be entering your weight, your height, your size, and your goal. So on your goal, I just want you to keep it as maintenance. Don't put weight loss, even if your goal is weight loss. Just keep it on maintenance, because we're not going to be following the MyFitnessPal instructions. And if you put weight loss, it's just going to give you very little calories. You're going to be following the calories and the macros that I allocate for you once we have done the first weeks of discovering how many calories and macros you are on. And I'm going to connect this later on. I'm just going to continue here. Now, after that, you will be telling me your account name, and I will be adding you as friend. And here are the steps for you to accept me as your friend. Also, here are the steps for you to then let me access to your diary. Then in here, you will have the video as to how to connect it with the application that I use, which is True Coach. So whenever you do the exercise of tracking and I click in here, I can see the work that you have been doing on tracking. For example, on this client, she was playing a little bit with the MyFitnessPal app last week, and I can see the total calories and the macro breakdown. Okay? Then I will access to your own MyFitnessPal to see on those calories and macros what is it on foods, because it's not about the calories only, it's also about the quality of foods. Now, on the first 2 weeks after you have done all that setup and you told me I am ready to go, I'm going to explain you how we're going to be using this, just for us to understand two things. Getting familiar with the app. Now, there are some complications when it comes to tracking on the app, which I'm going to quickly cover, but they are all covered in the video that I got you watching previously, the MyFitnessPal tutorial. But the most common issues that you might face will be weighing foods when they are already made, or weighing foods if they are raw or cooked, or maybe skipping the sauces that you will be using. Whatever that is, the point of the first 2 weeks of you tracking every single day of the week will be for you to have those practices, for you to face those challenges, for you to question yourself, okay, how do I track those things? And once we have completed those first 2 weeks, then we're going to get into the details on overcoming those barriers. However, the barriers are not that many. For common experience, I know that in the video it covers that if you are tracking your proteins and if they are cooked already, you should be searching for the equivalent portions on cooked proteins. For example, if you get a chicken breast packed And on the app, you have two options. One will be scanning the barcode of the chicken breast. If you do scan from the box, you might have to enter that as a raw product, because that is going to give you the equivalent of raw chicken breast. But if it might happen that you have cooked all that chicken breast and that you're going to be taking your portion once the chicken is cooked, then you get your food scale, you weigh it, cooked, and then you type it on MyFitnessPal, cooked. Same happen for carbohydrates. If you're gonna be taking the raw rice, you will need to track it as rice. But with carbohydrates, when we cook them, they tend to absorb water. That's why it's called carbohydrates. They absorb water. So the raw product on carbohydrates will be more value than the cooked product. Right? For example, 150 grams of uncooked rice is gonna give you around 30 grams of carbs. 150 grams of cooked rice is going to give you about the same. So it's understanding to not make that mistake. If the product is cooked, we track it as cooked. And if the product is raw, we track it as raw. Now, you will face issues such as, for example, if you go out eating and the food is too complicated to track, you will be facing difficulties. But those are the difficulties that I wanted to experience on those 2 weeks. Don't give up. Don't think that this is just too hard. I don't want to waste the energy, because this is part of you being in this coaching with me. And the beauty of us understanding what is it that we are consuming on a weekly basis is that as much as we try to be accurate on calories and macros on a meal plan, you're going to be facing the same challenges when you're not able to stick to that meal plan. So my aim is for you to start getting familiar, start being curious. When you track, every time that you track a product, when you track proteins, when you track carbohydrates, when you track veggies and fruits, get curious, understanding how many grams of carbs is this, how many grams of protein is this, how many grams of fats is this. There is another tip in there. When you're going to be using sauces, it's really, really hard to calculate what 15 grams of the sauce is, which is normally the portion size. So this is when we use the negatives. So use the negatives. That means that you're gonna get your sauce in the bottle as it is. You're gonna put it on the scale, like I'm doing in here, and then once the bottle is on the scale, you're gonna turn the scale on. You take the bottle out, you pour a spoon or whatever that is, and you put it back, and that is gonna tell you minus 15. That is how you do all sausages or sauces or peanut butter or anything that is in a big jar and is really hard to weigh. If you go to a restaurant, you have two options. You can either search in the database of the app for the restaurant, Mexican food junkies, I don't know, something like this, and see if there is the restaurant is on the database. Otherwise, just try to get familiar with the portions that you're going to be tracking at home and try to guesstimate. Guesstimate is, okay, if these are the portions that I'm weighing at home on my scale, I'm going to eyeball when I go to the restaurant, and I'm going to try to resemble the same portions, okay? Now, if you go to the restaurant and you tell me, oh, that was super hard to track, maybe you're not making the best choices when you go to the restaurant. So if you're eating loads of foods in just one plate and you're not able to understand what is protein, what is carbs, what is fiber, and what is fats, you're not eating the way that I have been teaching you to eat. So it will be you asking yourself, okay, am I being wise when making choices when I go to the restaurant? Because unfortunately, when you go to the restaurant, by default, the food is going to have 2 or 3, even 3 times the calorie content that you have when you consume at home. So now, this is what we're going to do. So far, this is annoying. So far, you have had, I had this ready and it wasn't ready. All right, so far you have had from me the PDF that shows you how we should be building structured meals, okay? This is not your own, because I'm going to be using this video for many people, but I have already provided you with this PDF when we first started. On this PDF, I was trying to educate you as to how more or less how many calories we will need for your goals, your body weight, and your own unique metrics, and how we're going to be making those structured meals. Remember that I explained it. Structured meal, every time that we eat, we shouldn't be snacking. We should always be looking at food as meals. And we should be consuming 3, 4, or 5 meals a day, nothing in between. Very likely, I'm going to ask you to have 4 if you are female, and I'm going to ask you to have 5 if you are male. Okay? And every time you do those meals, you should be having a protein portion, a veggie or fruit portion, carbohydrates, and fats. That is what it makes a structured meal. We want to make sure that we have one of these components every time that we eat on a day. Why? For better metabolic synthesis and for us to have better energy throughout the day. And it's just been proven that this is the way that the body best absorbs all the macronutrients in just one meal. Also, it's going to help you stop like peaking on the day. That was the first PDF, and that was with intentions of educate you on portion sizes on your hand and just going by the eyes. Then after that, I might have tailored to you a meal plan that resembles those calories that I suggested should be your goal calorie. And I created a meal plan that is personal and tailored to you based on wherever you are in the world, the foods that I saw you consuming on the food journal, and the foods that I know that you consume the most. On that meal plan, you also have a food list. Now, having those two tools being provided to you, all that I want you to do now that we're going to be using MyFitnessPal is for the next 2 weeks, you're going to be tracking every single day. And yes, you're going to tell me, hey, no, this is too hard, this is so frustrating. No, every single day, because it's going to be the opportunity for you to practice. Normally, we tend to eat the same meals every day. Remember that in MyFitnessPal, you also can save your meals as meals. So when you enter one meal, for example, if your breakfast is the same every day, what you do is once you have entered that on MyFitnessPal, you then can go at the top. I'll show you here. I have all my meals saved already, by the way, and so that makes my tracking really, really easy. So for example, in the morning, I have my breakfast, which is always the same, 150 grams of egg whites, 1 egg, 10 grams of Parmesan cheese, 100 grams of any fruit, and sourdough bread, 60 to 80 grams. So I have it in there. Once I do is I click at the top, edit, and then I select breakfast, and then at the bottom here, I click save meal, and I put breakfast. Right? Or I can put breakfast with egg and bread. Anything that makes you remember. Like this next day, when you're going to be doing the login, all you have to do is to search on the meals and you put breakfast. It's really not that hard to get tracking. And the point that I'm trying to make is that I need you to spend those 2 weeks tracking every day for 2 reasons. To face those challenges, to get annoyed, to get frustrated, to feel, oh my God, this is just too hard. And I want to see the recap of your work tracking on the check-in notes. So you're gonna let me know what is being frustrated on that. I have also left you and on your daily journal questions. What challenges did I face when I was tracking on MyFitnessPal, right? I have left you that on your profile. Here are the questions. Anyone that is doing the tracking on MyFitnessPal will have the option to enter any questions that they will have on MyFitnessPal. The reason why I need you to track that is that as much as I have provided you with the 2 first initial meal plans, it's really hard for us to understand the calorie content that you are consuming when based on meal plans, because you will notice now that you're gonna start tracking that an extra half spoon of olive oil will massively increase your calories of the day. And so if we're just following a meal plan, there is a lot more window to inaccuracies. So while we are together, we're going to be finding out what is actually the calories that you're currently consuming. From those calories, what is coming from carbs, protein, and fats. And then once we have exact numbers, it's easier for us to manipulate. And no, I'm not expecting for you to use this the rest of your life. No. But I'm expecting to use this during the time that we're going to be together, so I can educate you on a weekly basis on what calorie you should be consuming, and from those calories what macros for your goal is the best way and the only way to manipulate body composition. So for your next 2 weeks, you're gonna get tracking every single day on MyFitnessPal. Leave me any questions or any notes that you might have with facing difficulties on the daily tracker, and in 2 weeks time I tell you the next steps, which is gonna be me assessing your actual calorie intake and the initial macros for us to hit. Bye bye.